Hey guys, so this is just a self-VOD review of a pretty high elo game I played on patch 8.9 the other day, um, where this one focuses mainly on playing to win conditions a lot, and I haven't done one of these in a while, and I don't think I've ever done one on Graves, and I don't think I've ever done one this high MMR, so I really wanted to get one of these out. So basically, this game comes down to me protecting bottom lane simply because top lane is always going to lose. He's a tank versus 80 cannon. And I'm just going to speed through some of this as I talk, because the early game is kind of unimportant, or the very beginning is unimportant. But top lane is always going to lose because it's 80 cannon versus tank, and it's not really gankable either. It's a very difficult champion to gank. Obviously, cannon is, and mid lane is pretty hard to gank too. I have a mid laner who basically just wants to farm for 1250 gold, and he doesn't really have real gank setup for me, especially against a mobile champion like Echo. So basically, I have to play this whole game around bot side early on. It's my only like strictly winning lane, and it's a lane that's going to be pushing a lot. So this is something that I notice a lot of junglers don't understand. When you have a lane that like they don't understand how to win with a lane that's like winning but not really gankable because they're pushing so much. So I play around that a lot this game, and I'll be explaining it as I go through. The reason I start top here, multiple reasons. One, level 2 ganks on Graves with red buff are really nice, and two, I want to end my path bot side. So I noticed that neither bot lane leashed, so immediately I know Lee Sin is top, so basically off of that, I say to myself, I am not going to be level 2ing anything, because there's a high chance if I level 2 that I will just get straight up countered by the Lee Sin, and there goes the game. So don't bother with that. I just decide to do my rafters into my wolves. And this is actually a slight bit greedy, as I'll explain in a second when I get to my wolves. So my bot lane is pushing, right? Exactly what to be expected. You know, it's Lux Caitlyn. And I start wolves. What I should have done is I should have just done my blue and been ready to counter gank bot lane immediately. In the case that Lee Sin had done a path, pretty standard path too, of blue, wolves, red into bottom when he sees my bot lane is pushing. So doing the wolves was actually a bit greedy here. Rafters was still fine because had I just done the blue path, I could have left both Gromp and wolves up to take together at a later time to align the spawns, as I always talk about. So the rafters were still fine. It's the wolves here that are a bit greedy. But thankfully I get bailed out because my bot lane pushes properly and gets the wave reset, which is perfect for me. Because with the wave reset, I don't have to really be worried about them getting ganked, and on top of that, they even go get a ward out for the early Lee Sin gank. So the blue buff now is safe to take, but I should have just done the blue buff before doing the wolves. It was a bit of a greedy path to do that camp at the time that I did. So now that they have tri-warded, I go for the scuttle here. I push it downwards because my mid laner, he's not getting pushed in anymore, but he was getting pushed in a little bit earlier. So I felt a little bit unsafe, potentially meeting Lee Sin out here in the river. So I decided to push the scuttle downwards. So if Lee Sin does come, he'll be coming from the top side, and I can just run away towards this side, towards my bot lane. So I pick up the scuttle here, and bot lane is not really in a position that I want to gank right now, and I don't have a smoke screen. I need to finish the Gromp to get my smoke screen, so I decide to pick that up first. So I pick this up, and I immediately take a dash over the wall to look for bot lane. Draven had just warded it, but I go through anyway because I see Lee Sin is attacking my mid laner. Had I not seen Lee Sin here, there is no chance I would have gone for this gank. It is 100% getting counter ganked if Lee Sin was not on the map, because we'd started on the same side. But because I see him, I go deep for this gank and drop the smoke screen on Nami. He's slowed, so my support trades flashes. That's completely fine. Completely okay with that. put a little bit of damage on Draven, and I get out of here. That's a solid gank. So here I do something that I really like doing. I already know it's warded, but I go through to the try here to pull pressure off my bot lane. Because the second I walk this way, their bot lane is going like, oh fuck, this guy is coming around. We have to go ward. And I want to pull them away to give my bot lane a little bit of breathing room here because they're down level 2 to 3. I know me crossing to the left here is going to pull them away and potentially elicit a response from Lee Sin to waste time. And I know that I'm not in danger from the Lee Sin because I can always just dash over this wall. And I have the scuttle speed to get me out. So I hit this plant, looking for Lee Sin. I find him on the rafters here. Unfortunately, I can't get any of them, but I push him off, and I put the ward here. Now, this is really, really important. I see Lee Sin leave towards the top side. And this is extremely important because now I know bot lane has expended their wards. They put a ward here, they put a ward here, and Lee Sin is not going to be counter-ganking me. I see him path strictly away from my ward towards the top side. I let my top side know, hey, dive potential in about 30 seconds, and I take a really cheeky path to go back to bot lane. They think they're really safe here because they have the ward in the try behind them. So I take a path that, you know, not every jungler can take, but I take advantage of the fact that I am playing a champion with a very low cooldown dash. I get over the wall, heal up a little bit with Fleet, and get my E cooldown down, but the bot lane engages, so I can't get all the cooldown down, but that's fine. Draven overextends. Good flash by the Caitlyn. I clean up the Draven. No flash on the Nami from earlier, with the earlier gank. Free kill, free binding. I take both kills because I understand my bot lane is going to be winning off of this gank anyway, and just the assist gold, and I am going to be the one who has the most direct impact with the rest of the lanes, and I'm a jungler who makes a lot of use out of early gold, so I make the conscious decision to take both kills. Giving over a kill would have been fine too, but I trust myself with the gold, so I take both kills. Here I have a really good base. The big thing is I'm a bit greedy here in what I buy, and my pacing. So I spend all of my gold straight down to 0 buying these items, and Graves, sustain-wise, doesn't need the refill potion at all. I definitely could have sold it to buy a control ward, but I want to... I'm already... basically, the pacing is what's important here. I don't want to wait an extra 15 gold in base for the control ward, which is a bit greedy, but based on what I'm about to do, what you guys are about to see, is basically why. So I skip Krugs. So I know I talk about a lot how you always want to align your spawns, and you almost always want to do quadrants at the same time together, just like, you know, Krugs in the rafters instead of just like rafters. But there's a big reason I do this, and that's because, once again, I am keeping the win condition in mind, which is bot lane. And I am aligning my path to go to meet up with my bot lane once they're back. I can clear all of my camps through, or I can at least do 2 camps, and then meet up with my bot lane. But if I do Krugs rafters, it's so much slower that I won't exactly be with my bot lane right when they get back. And if they die to a gank, this game is just, it's in real deep shit. Which is why I make the conscious decision to forego my Krugs and just do Wolves Rafters and then meet up with my bot lane once they're back in lane to protect them from a potential Lee Sin gank. Because the potential Lee Sin gank is so disastrous for our game state because of the way our solos play out that I just don't want to take that risk. I sacrifice a little bit of farm to make sure my bot lane is going to be safe. So this is where not having the control does bite me in the butt a little bit. I actually don't have any wards left because I used my wards earlier in this bush and in this bush to get information. So my trinket is down, and I don't actually have a control ward to ward anything here. So I actually have to just kind of protect my mid laner by just like being a human ward here. He has no summoners and he needs to get this wave pushed in. So I hover him for a little bit so he can get it pushed in safely. And then I go back to playing around my bot lane. This is actually a pretty underutilized concept by a lot of junglers. You don't always have to go to a lane to get a kill or get pressure for a gank. You know, sometimes just waiting around when your laner is in a bad spot is simply enough. Like, I understood he really needed to get that wave pushed, And I understood with no summoners, he's a prime gank target because we haven't seen Lee Sin in a while. So there, I just kind of wait to protect him a little bit. Unfortunately, I don't have any wards to go drop in their jungle, which is really sucks, but that's the cost I pay for better tempo. So Lux drops a control ward for me here, and I see pings, and I see him fighting for the control ward. So I start the Gromp, but I'm already pulling it downwards, as you can see from my character. I walked, I believe I walked up and to the right, but I still pull downwards because I understand I need to be ready to move to bot side. Yeah, look at, so I walk up and to the right, but I already am pathing like downwards because I understand I need to be ready to help my bot lane in case something like this does happen, and something like this does happen, so I'm ready to show up. Lee Sin goes really deep for the gank. I take the blast plant over, drop a smoke screen right in his face. He has nowhere to go. He has to flash out, but he's still dead. And free kill for me. And now, there's nothing more I can get here, but we get turret pressure, and I get his rafters. I know they're up because I fought him at them earlier, and now my ward is up again, so I can drop it as I do these rafters, and we have really good information once again. My bot lane is protected, and we're in a really good spot. So here I could have gone for Infernal. I actually wasted a little bit of time going for a mid lane gank that will never ever succeed because my mid laner's got way too low mana and it's an Echo with ulti. Thankfully I don't waste too much time because I understand pretty quickly that the gank is not happening, and I see bot lane getting really low, and this is where I make a really greedy play. I go off a lot of assumptions here. I assume that this bush isn't warded. I assume Lee Sin is going to path topside after the death because that's where his camps are spawning, that's where his first buff has respawned, and I don't assume that he's going to be ready for this play. I know their bot lane has no summoners, and I'm confident in my ability to make this play, and I'm confident in my read that Lee Sin is not going to be here. But I am wrong in every sense, really. This does end up being warded. They're ready for it very early. I'd anticipated that when the wave crashed, they would go ward right then, and they would face check into me while warding, and I'd be able to get the kill. But they actually preemptively warded it. Draven gives it away by autoing me here, but my smoke screen is very underwhelming. I should have waited till the axe showed up and dropped it on the axe. So I end up having to flash forward to try to get the kill here, and he ends up living with Aerie, Nami W, Lee Sin W, and Triumph to my red smite. And the thing was, this play would have been completely fine, even with the missed smoke screen or the suboptimal smoke screen, had my read been correct and Lee Sin had been topside. But Lee Sin makes a good play here, reading that his bot lane was under attack, and he sacrificed his camps to stop this play, and because of it, they're still in the game. Had I gotten this kill off, we would have been able to either kill Nami or zone her off the turret, and we would have gotten the turret for free, and that would have been game. Or, it's not game. I say game because in high elo this is like pretty devastating, but it would have at least been a very big advantage for our team. But I die here, he lives due to a multitude of heals and shields, and now this is really bad because my bot lane now has to be worried about Lee Sin, and Lee Sin is alive, and I'm obviously off the map to stop him from helping them get a reset. But Lee Sin basically throws me the game back on a silver platter here by going in and dying, when he really should have just been here to help his bot lane reset. Going bot lane here is fine, but he needs to just help them reset instead of trying to go for a kill, and because of that, he dies, and now their bot lane can't get a reset off, and once again, they're in this really terrible position. So, during all this, top lane was fighting. I'm going to rewind it for you guys. I caught it on the back end after I died. I realized bot lane, or top lane starts fighting. Cannon commits flash, ulti, all of his cooldowns, and in my mind, I'm already basically saying I'm gonna path the top side, even before all of this happens, because I'm assuming my bot lane is gonna base. Obviously, all this does happen. They get a free kill on Lee Sin. They play it really well, but I'm basically already committing to top side path because I feel like my bot lane is backing soon, or should back soon, or is backing soon. So I pass straight to top here, and the cannon is sticking around to try to kill my Cho'Gath. It's a tad bit greedy to go for red buff here, but basically the reason I go for the red buff is because, once again, I don't care too much about getting the kill. If I do get the kill, it's nice, but it's not really too worth it to give up my pathing, and he's not really under threat. My bot lane's not under threat, they get the turret already. So I can just go up here whenever I want, and I wanted my level 6 as well. So free kill on the cannon here. He's just overextended trying to kill my Cho. I help Cho push the wave. I don't want to take too much of his XP, so I just leave him the rest of that. And I walk into his jungle here. So this is also a pretty big thing that's about to happen here. I walk in looking for 3 scenarios. One, all of this is up and I don't see Lee Sin. That means he went straight to red buff after dying. I know he's bot side. And I don't have to be afraid of anything. 2, I see him right here. Obviously, that's just that. And 3, some of his camps are up, the others are gone, and I don't see him. And that basically means he did a camp or 2, whatever's still up is up, obviously, and then he pathed the bot side to get red. So I hit the plant here. I see this is up, I see this is up, and basically in my mind, I know, okay, he passed straight to bot side after dying. I can just grab this for free. And this is just really free. I'm Graves, you know, nothing to worry about. And he throws Q here. So this is actually about to be a pretty important point in the game. Okay, not important point, but just a point for the review here. I see the Lee Sin throw Q, but he never actually shows up on our map. So even if my mid laner and my support, which is about to be relevant, were watching the map, if they only look at the minimap, it's very, very possible that they did not see Lee Sin, because he threw a Q, but if they're focused on making this play happen, they're probably not worried about me taking the blue buff. They're more looking at Echo and how to set up this play. This is on me for not pinging out danger, Lee Sin's in this area when I realize he's not coming to contest my Gromp. Even if he had been coming to contest my Gromp, I should have been throwing up danger pings all around and pinging that he's active on the map. Because he never really showed on the map, he just threw a Q into fog. So it's very possible that my support and mid laner missed that we actually got location of where he was. So they end up making a mid lane play that they never would have made had I given them the information, hey, Lee Sin's in this area, watch out for it. And they end up giving Lee Sin a kill that helps them get a foothold at least back into the game. They're still very far behind, but it gives them something when they shouldn't have had anything. So Caitlyn is just catching farm under turret here. There's a big wave crashing. Lux is about to go help her. So I just clear out camps here and catch the mid wave. So Lux starts fighting Lee Sin. I make my way down the second I see it happen. He's fine, just flashing out. I ward out Echo as I cross, and I make the conscious decision to take blue buff here. Few reasons for this. One, I don't think Victor is gonna be so late to it, because he still needs to catch the mid wave before coming over, and 2, I just value the pacing more. I want to be actively with bottom because they just lost their flash, and I'm worried they'll be pushing up too far to go for a kill, and I'm worried that Lee Sin will be looking for the kill because their bot lane doesn't have a turret anymore. So I just want to be meeting with them ASAP instead of spending time passing over the blue buff, because in the downtime I would have been doing, while waiting for him to get the blue, I would have been doing wolves, and I just don't want to be that slow to being on the map again. So Lee Sin actually pulls a fast one on me and just does dragon while I'm waiting for him to show up for this gank, and I go looking for him because I know he had to have soloed it. I assume he's going to be a little bit low, but I end up picking the wrong direction to go and I don't find him. Thankfully I can still take his rafters as a consolation prize, but not much else to do here. So pick up the rafters. I leave a little bit too to slow him down on the respawn of the camp. we get this ward, and me and the support rotate middle here to hit the turret because their bot lane is too afraid now that I have complete control of the bot side to ever do anything, to ever push up or do anything. So there's no kill pressure there. We know Lee Sin's a bit chunked out, and we know where he's coming from. And we know their bot lane is stuck in lane still, so we can get some damage, if not the mid turret here. So me and Lux just rotate. We have a bunch of ranged champions to hit the turret. They got a bunch of melee champions. They should be able to defend this much, get good damage. But Draven has a good ulti to wave clear here, along with the Echo Q. So we don't get as much damage on the turret as I'd like. So I path here to get the scuttle because we'll be playing around this side. I realize the scuttle is dead. I see it float over, so I know that they're in the area. I start mass pinging, but they just get out. You know, we don't really have any tools to chase them. Put a little bit of damage on them as I get out, and just pushed away faster. We have tempo advantage on them here, because they already committed Draven ulti, so they won't have Draven ulti to defend this. My Caitlyn's fresh off a bye. I didn't really need to buy. I have a lot of gold, but I'm still so much stronger than Lee Sin at this point in the game that I don't need to buy to help them pressure this turret. Their bot lane's still stuck bottom. Their Echo is fighting our Victor, and he has to go back middle here. So there's no real threat there. Kennen is basing because he can't hold the turret. Lee Sin is useless holding the turret, so we just get free turret here. So this is just us outpacing them, out-rotating them, and me using the fact that I'm a champion who has very fast push, very good wave clear. I'm just using it to its fullest. So here, I just help them do Rift now. We're just taking objectives all over the map with the pressure that my bot lane has from being ahead. And all of this is really stemming from, yes, my bot lane played really, really well. I don't want to take anything away from them. But a lot of this is also me making sure that they got to this point by playing around them this whole game instead of wasting time in the other lanes where there was nothing really to be gained. Okay. So that happens. This is just a straight up misplay from our Victor. We're making plays on other parts of the map, in that case getting Rift. He should never have been playing up. He gives Lee Sin another free kill. That one I can obviously, I can always ping, like, be careful when we're making plays on the other side of the map, but for that one, where I don't know where Lee Sin is at all, that's also on him just as much as me to be aware of what's going on the map and not die to that. So what happens here is, it might look like I'm being really greedy with farming here, but my Caitlyn has a lot of gold on her, or not that much gold actually, but he's not that healthy in terms of HP and mana, and our mid laner is dead, so I know they're going to just do one more wave in base, because there's no point in even trying to pressure the turret when our mid laner is dead, so I understand they're just going to go base, and I have Rift Recall, so I can actually clear my camps, and then base, and I'll be pretty much with them in terms of tempo, because I clear so fast with my warrior and being Graves, that it might seem a little greedy, but it's really not that greedy at all. Just because I'll be back on the map pretty much at the same time with them, with the Rift Recall, provided I recalled here. I get a little bit greedy here, thinking we can maybe pull a fast one on the Kennen, and it ends up hurting the tempo a little bit here, because Victor is forced to sit with the middle for a little bit before he rotates up the top lane. In case they get attacked. My top laner gets attacked in the bot lane here. Thankfully he's fine, he's Cho'Gath, got a lot of armor, but that was a slight misplay from me. It costs a little bit of tempo, and I'm very conflicted on what to buy here. I don't want to come out of base without another control word, but I end up buying Dagger over it, because I value the tower pushing, based on the fact that I'm probably going to be rifting something soon. And we'll probably be fighting over the control word here. I spend a little bit too much time debating that, so I cost a bit of tempo there, and I cost a bit of tempo just like going for the bot lane gank. So I'm walking through control here, and I'm pretty sure Victor can bait it. So I go for a quick play top here, mainly because it's harder to make something happen middle, because I don't have a control word, and I don't have sweeper obviously because I have the rift. So obviously sweeping through this jungle to get a dive off isn't really something that's a possible play, and my bot lane is going to be perma pushing them in, so there's no like chance I can get a gank off of their bot lane being extended. So that's why I make the decision to go for top here. Chase him with the ulti, he has to ult back. Gravity Field gets on him, could have been placed better, but I end up flashing for this because there's a chance we don't necessarily get him if I don't, and once again, I'm valuing the pacing of this play a lot more than my flash in this case, because I feel I'm already so strong in this game that I'm not really in danger of dying or needing my flash, so I value killing him quicker and getting the guaranteed kill over my flash in this case, even though I do stress a lot about how flashing for kills isn't really worth it. But in this case, we're getting a pacing advantage off of it, and I get to the rift off of it as well, which will pull people away from other parts of the map. So this is once again, partially going to be my mistake and partially my bot lane's mistake. Lee Sin has no plays to make here. My top laner understands that there's a chance he gets dove, so he just leaves the turret, and he understands that they're going to try to cross map here with us making an unstoppable play top lane, so he goes to help the middle, but they also should have been playing further back because Lee Sin literally has no other play to make here. He cannot attack us by himself. Kennen is stuck in the bot lane, their bot lane is here in the mid lane. The only possible place he can be with my top laner not even being in the bot lane to fight Kennen right now is in the mid lane, so they should have been more aware of this play. You can also once again argue I should have been pinging this out, but it's also on them to be aware that this is the only part of the map that a play could be being made, so they need to be aware of that. I capitalized by taking his jungle, but once again it's just a kill that he shouldn't have got. You know, I would be able to take his jungle regardless, because I know he's not going to be playing around in the top side when there's nothing you can do. I could have gotten all these camps without our mid laner, our bot lane dying in the mid lane, which is why that kind of sucks. So I get a little bit greedy here, looking for a kill that isn't really going to happen. I understand pretty quickly that it's not really going to happen, so I back out before I do anything really stupid, and the pressure I put on the Draven elicits the Draven ulti response. We get a little bit of damage on the turret, but we can't really get too much. Mainly because of the Draven ulti clearing the wave. So I just go to Rafters here. I know Caitlyn has to base, so I don't do too many camps. I just do one camp here, and I go by to get my cleaver because I already have so much gold from all the turrets and the echo kill that I don't really need to wait for anything else. So I'm pretty sure I just buy Cleaver Treads control ward here, and I switch trinkets now that I can, now that I don't have Rift on me anymore. Yep. Treads, control wards, yep. Perfect buy. And now the game is pretty simple. We just need to break middle in whatever way. It's pretty easy when we have a bot lane that ahead. A little bit scary here. I can't really walk into the river. Once again, they're using their pressure here of their top laner being their strong side. Like, he just wins the split. So they use that to invade my bot side really quickly. I just end up smiting away blue. We look on the Kennen here. Can't really get anything though, so we just push them away. I have such a big lead, and my bot lane has such a big lead that I'm just going to be playing with them here. And we'll be pressuring the mid turret because that is the next objective. So I drop my control ward to help get control over middle, and we just play the game out pretty systematically here. They can't really handle our siege, so I just step up here, trade damage with him. We get a binding. We just commit all of our ultis to put damage on him, and we get the Draven ulti out. This is actually a really bad Draven ulti. He should have waited for the next wave. But we put so much pressure on him that he feels the need to ulti. So I believe we just get turret on the next wave. Sin looks for a play on me. Nothing to be had there. My support actually dies. Not really sure how that happened. But yeah, I'm just basically being a big old bully, using the fact that I have a big lead to the fullest extent, really. He goes in to take a camp for me. I kill him for it, and I'm just so strong that I'm not really afraid of anyone. I'm really just taking fights, and just really trying to use my lead and the bot lane's lead however possible. You know, I use my lead by taking fights. The bot lane uses their lead by just like harassing on our turrets, and because the fight starts and we kill people and pull them away from the turret, we get free mid-turret. So the rest of this game isn't really too important. I'm pretty sure we just systematically like close it out. It's a bit messy, but what I wanted to talk about, the gist of this, is basically all already talked about. Playing your win conditions, really important. Thing that people doesn't understand. It's something that people don't understand well enough in solo queue. It's something you should get in the habit of. Whenever you load in, you should understand what your win conditions are, or just like what your best lanes to play around are, and just like stick to that plan, as long as nothing is forcing you to deviate from it. The other things I want to point out, pinging danger when you know the enemy jungler is very important. And the last thing, every single time Lee Sin did anything or showed, I made a conscious effort to make the counterplay happen. And he did this a pretty decent amount too, which is why he had like 4 kills, even though he was like so far behind me the whole game. You know, I've had if you've been watching the levels on the sidebar, as this game has gone on, I've had like a level lead on him basically the whole game, because every single time he makes a play, I take his camps, or I take a kill, or I do something on the other side of the map, and he does his best to make the same happen. Obviously, it's a bit harder for him when he's behind, but that's basically how you should look at jungle. It's just kind of like a chess match, you know. Every action should have a response, and it's just up to you to, as a jungler, like a lot of the time when something happens on the map, it's on you to create a response to take something else on the other side of the map. And that's something that you guys, anyone watching this should definitely get in the habit of doing as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'm out.